This is the Google Pixel Fold. Is it a phone? Is it a tablet? Is it a phablet? Is it a folding phablet? I don't know, but we'll find out in this honest review. Google Pixel Fold honest review. So if you're a fan of my channel, you know that I like small one-handed phones, right? Things that aren't too big. Like you'll never see me with an iPhone Pro Max. You'll never see me with a OnePlus 7-inch monstrosity. I like phones that can fit in one hand. But I also like new stuff, and I like groundbreaking technology, and I like phones, and I like things that I can do multiple things with at once. So multitasking. I like Android so that I can use different apps at the same time, side-by-side apps, and the iPhone has caught up in that sense and is somewhat over the past few years. But in general, Android has always been my go-to OS for its customization, for its just nice features that it has, the notification system. There's just a lot about Android that I really like, even though I've been using an iPhone for the past 2 years. The primary reason is that most of the Android phones out there, Google phones in particular, have been too big for me. They've been too large. They've been phones that don't fit comfortably in your hand. And the Pixel Fold is very close. I think it's like 5.8 inches maybe in display when it's folded up like this. It does fit in my hand very nicely. It's a little more square than tall, so it's a little wider. And it's obviously a little thicker because it's two phones in one sandwiched together. But it's also a little bit too dense. It's very heavy, and I don't know what the weight is, and it doesn't matter what the weight is because ultimately what it comes down to is how the phone feels in your hand. And so for me, the phone feels a little bit too heavy, and I don't know if there's any way they can combat that, given that you have two phones in one with batteries and screens and all the guts inside. So it's gonna be a heavy device. Maybe they can make it out of carbon next year or something. I don't know. But it's bulky and it's dense, and it actually makes your hand tired. When you hold this up one-handed, like I do, and you have it resting on your pinky like this, and you're trying to use it, like in bed, for example, or on the couch, it fatigues your hand to hold onto it with one hand, so that forces you to use two hands. And the fact that I have to use it immediately with two hands takes away the usability for me. I want to use it with one hand. I don't want to use it with two hands. Obviously, if I open it up using it with two hands, is a different story. That's fine. But now that we've got away from my gripes, we'll talk more about the phone itself, phablet, folding phablet, whatever you want to call it. It is really, really cool, guys. And I think that this is my first folding phone. I haven't experimented with any of the Samsung stuff. I haven't looked at any of the other competing phones in this area of technology. Why I wanted this was because I wanted something, again, that fit comfortably in my one hand, that I could open up to multitask with, watch videos with, do some other, software, side-by-side apps, just take advantage of this large screen. And I will tell you that I love it. I love how this phone works. I love that when you open it up, you get presented with this huge, beautiful desktop that has widgets, that has just, incredible resolution. The colors are great. The fact that you can run things like Gmail and have a side-by-side window where you have the text in one side and you have, the inbox on the other side. You can fold this up, and then it'll go back to the app that you were just in, which is awesome. You can then run apps sort of seamlessly within the transition, right? So like, for example, if I go here and I go to The Verge and we're gonna look at, if it actually goes, I don't know why that's doing that. Let's try it this way. If we go to The Verge this way, oh good, Chrome doesn't work. So let's try another web page. That's not working. So yeah, what did I say about Android? Anyway, we'll go to the Chrome here. So now we'll open up The Verge, and this reads like a normal cell phone would read, right? And if I open this up, I'm expecting it to sort of fill out the whole screen. And it does, but not really, right? If you look at this, you can tell that the app is running the whole screen. But the way it scales, it's not perfect, right? You still have all this margin on the side. And some of that goes away if you rotate the phone, right? It will sometimes scale it differently, but it's not perfect. And it kind of depends on the web page too, right? So for example, if we go to CNN, you can see that CNN does take advantage of the whole screen, right? Videos as well. It does use the whole screen here. And so this is a better implementation of that display. whereas some apps and some web pages don't take advantage of that. Another great example is like, TikTok I really like. And this is a really cool setup side by side where you have the comments shown in the video, right? And you can scroll through your feed and see the comments, and you can watch the video and read the comments at the same time. Very, very cool. And again, if you go back to the front, it just rolls through just like a normal TikTok feed would be without any comments. But that's just a really cool use of the UI and of the screen LED. I really enjoy that. The other thing I found is that the camera setup for this is very cool. Like, I like the fact that you've got great pixel cameras on the back. So when you're using it as a standard phone, you have all the high resolution, excellent picture quality from the Google Pixel cameras. Just the image quality is stunning. It's no different than any other Pixel phone if you're used to that. Like, just great portraits, really good colors, really good accuracy, great background blurring when you do the portrait mode. But then the magic really happens when you unfold the phone, right? And so now you've got this sort of like selfie platform thing that you can kind of see here, right? It's like I can put the phone down and you can control the settings here, and then it's using the front camera here, right? But you can also then swap this around and then go with what is, I guess, maybe like for Zoom meetings, you can like put this down, and now that you've got a front-facing camera here, right? So you can see that. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's a really cool feature for any like web content, blogging, vlogging. Like, it's just neat that you can set this down and then turn this camera around and then use it. The only downside to that is that resolution isn't so good, right? So if we open this picture, like this is the front, this is just a random selfie this camera. And you can see that like it's good. The quality is really good. But then if you scroll to the other camera, which is whatever camera is inside the phone here from that like, Zoom or Google Meeting camera, it's a lower quality camera, right? I mean, it's a smaller lens. You can barely even see, I think, the lens is right there, right? So it's tiny. It's your standard like selfie camera. But if you're looking at it from this side and you're using one of these cameras, then that's a lot higher quality. And so it's neat to be able to use that outward facing camera and get the high resolution and still have the flexibility of using this folding screen. Durability wise, this is another thing that's come up in a lot of different channels and a lot of different reviewers have talked about. So I don't use cases on my phones, and that worries me a little bit about this. I mean, there's just a lot of surface area, and corners on this thing that if I did drop it, I feel like it would break. I can't comment on the Gorilla Glass or whatever they've used to, ensure that this phone doesn't break. I know that there have been instances of people saying that they've gotten small particles caught in here when they fold, and it smashes the LCD and breaks it. What I do like is when you close this, it's very clean and it's very solid sounding. I mean, listen, like that just sounds great, and it feels even better in your hand. That just nice, solid, clean smack is just wonderful. But the worry again is that since this is a direct contact surface, like if you get something stuck in there, right, it's gonna smash that LCD. So that is a concern. However, if you keep your pockets clean and you wipe your phone down or just don't have a lot of debris and junk in there, it's probably okay and it'll probably last. I mean, I'm sure Google has done a bunch of testing on this stuff, and that they wouldn't release a product that had serious design flaws in it. I mean, unless, again, something gets caught inside there. Durability-wise, I feel like, that's still to be determined. I know flexible folding phones have been around for a while, so I'm sure that the technology has been tested. I will say that you can kind of see the LCD changing colors when you fold it. I'm assuming that is okay. I don't know. Microphones and microphones and speakers all over this thing. The audio quality is really good, whether you're playing it from the front or from the back. There is a fingerprint reader built into the power button. It's not very convenient because it's a small-ish button and it takes your hand being in the exact right place for it to register. It does have face unlock or pin unlock, so that's pretty standard across phones. This doesn't work as well as some of the other fingerprint readers, like when you have it on your screen. It's just harder to use from right there. Colors on the LCD are standard pixel colors. Like, I find this to be very cool, especially when you compare it to something like the iPhone. I feel like they are accurate colors, but they are also just a bit, I don't know, they look cool to me. They don't look normal. They look undersaturated and they could use a little bump in warmth. But nothing that's a deal breaker. I mean, it's a great quality screen. The resolution looks really good. The other weird thing about just the layout here, right? I'm just going to talk about that. Is like, it's just not really utilized the best within the apps. I mean, I showed you TikTok earlier. That was a great use of the phone screen, right? Look at Facebook, right? It's just, you have all this wasted space. And is that going to be, addressed in future software updates? Maybe, I don't know. If we rotate the phone, you can see that it does take advantage of that screen. So I'm assuming it's just how you hold it and how you use the phone. But again, it's just sort of human nature to use the phone when you unlock it, right? And when we do this, we're just gonna do this and start to use the phone like this. It's gonna be sort of hard to remember to turn the phone upside down and to also know which which apps support, turning it upside down or turning it left and right. Instagram, another hugely popular app. Like, this is really terrible. I mean, look how much wasted space there is here. If we rotate it this way, it's a little bit better, but not the best. And so, is that going to be updated or addressed in software updates? I don't know. But for right now, it just sort of feels half-baked and it feels good, but not great, especially when you consider the price. I mean, the price of this thing is $1,800 in the US. What are you getting out of it? Well, you're getting a high quality piece of equipment, but with software that's just not really there, right? I mean, it's good, but it's just not great. I just don't really think it's worth the value. Hopefully you guys enjoy this honest review. Check out everything else I have on YouTube. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.